Hi Yarny friends, it's Dawn from Ninja Money Crochet. Today I have for us to do these cute little cat mats. Now these can also be used for like small dogs, but these are made double-stranded, so you're going to use two strands of yarn. You're going to hold them together to make this cat mat. It's about, let's see, 20 by 20 inches, so it's a nice little square. If you want to donate this to a shelter or a cat rescue or something, this is a perfect size to fit in the little kennel cage. So let's hop on over to the craft table and we'll stitch one of these up together. Here we are at the craft table, and this is our blanket. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a sample, a smaller swatch of the blanket to show you how to do the stitch and how to change colors for the blanket. And the border is very simple. It's just a simple single crochet border with doing 2 to 3 stitches in the corner, however many it looks, it goes around the corner and looks good to you. So this is a very easy pattern to work. We're going to be working double-stranded. The yarn that I used was Caron 1-pounder and a Caron Jumbo. So the Caron Jumbo is the multicolor Jumbo, and that they're both 100% acrylic. The Caron 1-pound comes in the 16-ounce ball, 454 grams, 812 yards, and it is 742 meters. That is this blue color right here. This color is called Azure. It's A-Z-U-R-E. I don't have the labels anymore. I'm just reading off of my pattern. And then this multicolor is a Caron Jumbo, and that again is 100% acrylic. They come in a 12-ounce ball, 340 grams, 595 yards, 544 meters, and this color is called Country Basket. You should be able to make 2 full blankets using the same pattern for striping as I'm going to show you today, and with the Caron 1-pounder and the Jumbo. And this is what I have left of the Jumbo. You'll have a little bit left of your Caron 1-pound. The reason I had to use a different color on the edging of this blanket is because I wasn't starting off with a full Caron 1-pound when I started to make the blankets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some scrap yarn, and I'm going to show you how to make the pattern and how to change colors, and then we'll put a few rows on and I'll show you how to do the border. Since I've already got 2 blankets already made, I'm just going to show you a sample of how to do the stitch. So let's put this aside. Well, actually no, we'll leave this right here and I'll show you what hook you need. Okay, so I'm using my Furls Streamline hook in an M 8mm hook. So that'll show up in the camera. So you want an 8mm hook. You need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle and a couple of stitch markers. Once you have all your supplies, let's get started. So before we jump into the tutorial, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that little icon right down in there in the corner. That's going to automatically subscribe you to my channel. And while you're down there, don't forget to ring that bell. That'll notify you whenever I upload a new video. And if you like content like this, please give it a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know you like my videos. It also helps me gauge what type of content you like to see on my channel. So remember, we're going to be doing this double-stranded, so take 2 strands. It can be the same color, it could be 2 different colors like I'm going to be showing you here today on the tutorial. We're going to start with our slip knot, and we're going to put that on our hook. Now for today, I'm going to be doing a a smaller size, so I'm going to be doing a chain of 20, but for the full size blanket, you're going to want a chain of 44. So for today, I'm going to show you with a chain of 20, but for the full size blanket, you want a chain of 44. So once you have your chain, if you're doing your full size blanket, remember 44, but if you're just going to do a swatch to check it out, to try out the pattern, go ahead and do a chain of 20. But again, for the full size blanket, do a chain of 44. Once you have your chain, come on back and we'll start working on the pattern. Now that we have our chain of 20, if you're doing the full size blanket, you'll have a chain of 44. We're going to start second chain from hook. The loop on the hook does not count as a stitch, so we're going to 1, 2 and start in that second chain. Now you can flip your chain over and work in the back bars of the chain if you'd like. I think with working when you have two different color strands like this, or if you're working a multicolor yarn, it's a little bit difficult to see those. So for today, for the tutorial, I'm going to be working in the traditional way. I'm going to be working in the chain just like this. So remember, the loop on your hook does not count as a stitch, so we're going to go 1, 2 and work into the second chain, and we're going to do a single crochet and a double crochet. Grab your stitch marker, and in that first stitch, which is kind of on the side here, put your stitch marker so that way you'll be able to find it on the way back. Skip the next chain, and in the next one, put a single crochet and then a double crochet. Now if you're not used to working two strands of yarn, this might take you a little bit of time to get used to working two strands. So skip the next stitch and go into the next one with a single crochet and then a double crochet. And you're going to keep repeating that pattern all the way down the chain till you get to your last two stitches. And in your last stitch, you're going to put one single crochet. So skip the next stitch, go into the next one with a single and then a double. I will meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the chain and I have 2 stitches left. We're going to skip that next one, and in the last chain put one single crochet. There we go. And that finishes up the row. And don't worry if your piece is starting to curls up a little bit. That's perfectly normal on the first row. It'll straighten out once you get your next row on. So for row 2, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and in that very first stitch right here, that first stitch, we're going to go ahead and put a single crochet and a double crochet. And we got to grab our other stitch marker because we're going to mark that first stitch right there. Again, it kind of leans on the side at first, so we want to put that stitch marker in. We're going to skip the next stitch, which is this one right here, and if you need to like turn your work a little bit, turn your work to look at it, it's right here. That's the double crochet, and we're going to put our next, we're going to work next into this single crochet. So pretty much we're going to be skipping all of the double crochets and working into the single crochets. So skip this next stitch and work into the single crochet with a single crochet and a double crochet. Skip that next stitch and go into the next one, which is the single, with a single crochet and a double crochet. And like I said, if you have to turn your work to look at it, that's perfectly fine too. Skip this next stitch, go into this next one right here, So this one right here with a single crochet and a double crochet, all into the same stitch. And you're going to continue that all the way down till you get to your last stitch, and your last stitch is going to be a single crochet into the last stitch. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. We're at the end of the row and we have 2 stitches left. Now you might have to turn the work a little bit. Here's the double crochet, and then there's that single crochet that we marked. So we're going to skip that double crochet, pull out our stitch marker, and we're going to put a single crochet into that very last stitch, just like that, and that squares off our ends. So that's all you need to do for this project, is just keep repeating row 2. So I'll do another row with you. So we're going to chain 1, turn the work, start with our single crochet, and if it's easier to put your stitch marker in right after that first single crochet, you can do that too, if that's easier for you. Just like that, and then put your double crochet in there, whichever is easier for you. Skip the next stitch, go into the next one, which is the single crochet, and you're going to do your single and double. Now this is going to be a little more drag on your hook because you're working 2 strands of yarn together. Skip the next stitch, go into that single, which is the next one, and do your single and your double. Skip the next one, go into the next, and do a single and a double. But don't worry about like trying to do super speedy on this project, because it's not a real long project. Skip the next one, go into the next stitch, do your single and your double. Just like that. And my laptop went down, so I want to tell you how many rows. So to complete your project, you're going to be completing 35 rows. So it's not a long project, it's kind of a short project. And I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of rows on here, and I'll come back and then I'll show you how to change colors, because you're going to change colors at the end of a row, and I'll show you how to change colors. But you're pretty much going to be doing the same stitch throughout the entire blanket. And you can, for the blanket that I showed you in the beginning, I did 2 rows of one color, then 10 rows of the second color, then 10 rows of the first color, and then 10 rows of the second color, then 2 rows of the original, the first color, to get the striping. You can do however many rows you want. You can also keep it all one color too. So again, I'm going to put a couple more rows on, and I'll come back and show you how to change colors, then put a few more rows on, and then I'll show you how to do the border. So, okay, I've got a couple of rows on. I have one more stitch to do, and I'm going to show you how to change colors, because we're going to change colors in that last stitch. So insert your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop, and we're going to stop right there. Go ahead and cut off here's your scissors, cut off your yarn. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail so you can weave it in. So go ahead and cut off the working color, grab up your new color, and leave yourself a good bit of a tail there. I like to leave a little bit extra tail because I'd rather have more tail than not enough tail. So we're going to put it on the hook and pull it through. And then I like to take my little tails here, kind of flip it over this way so I can get a good look at it. And I like to take my tails and tie a little knot. Now, if you don't like to have knots in your crochet, that's perfectly understandable. You can always take the knot back out again when you go to weave in your tails. And that's all there is to changing colors. Now you're ready to go with your new color. So you just chain up one, turn your work, and you're ready to start your new row. So you just insert and do your first single crochet. Grab up your stitch marker and go ahead and mark that first stitch. And you just continue with the same pattern. Skip the next stitch and do your single double just like before. You're just using a different color now. Skip the next stitch, single double, again skip the next stitch, single and double. And I'm just going to finish out this row here, single and double, single and double. And by the time you get done making one of these, you'll be going single double in your head the whole time. Pretty easy, pretty simple stitch. And it makes nice thick fabric. And again, you can always make this in a bigger or smaller blanket too. You can always make it in a full-size blanket for a person too. Skip that second to last stitch and a single in the last stitch. And then we have successfully changed colors and completed a full row. So we're going to go ahead and put a couple. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more rows on, and then I'll show you how to do the border. I got all my ends woven in, and I suggest when you go to make your border that you hold your blanket right side facing you so that you're looking at your stitches like this, because I think this is the easiest way to start your border. So you're going to go to your first stitch, insert your hook, and you're going to do a slip stitch. Whoop. Now, with that being said, make sure you catch all the strands of yarn, because again, you are working with double-stranded. So there we go. Make sure you catch all your strands. Chain one, and then you're going to put 2 single crochets into that. So 1 and 2. And it's going to be a little bulky, but that's okay, because you want to go around the corner. And then just 1 single crochet into each stitch. So 1 and 1. So you're going into the double crochets and the single crochets, and you're putting 1 stitch into each. To get to the end of the row, and you're going to, depending on how thick your yarn is, like, I mean, even this is a little thick. I might not have needed 2 in there, but you just kind of have to judge it by how thick your yarn is. Let me pull out a little bit of yarn. Because even though this is doubled, like this purple is a little bit thicker than the aqua and the gray multicolor. So now I'm coming up to the last stitch, and like I said, the reason I said 2 to 3 is like if I put 3 in there, it's going to be really bulky. So I'm just going to put 2 in. just like I did on the other end, because I think 2 is perfectly fine to go around the corner. If the yarn was a little bit thinner like this, like the aqua one, I might be able to put 3 in that corner, but you're just going to have to judge it. Then we're going to turn. I'm going to work down the rows and try to get your hook into the edge there. And the first one is the hardest one. The rest of them kind of have like a hole that you can go into. And you just kind of have to find that hole. It's approximately 1 single crochet per row. But I kind of just go by where that hole is until I get down to the bottom, which of course this is a much smaller sample than what a full blanket would be. And then when I get here, I'm going to put 2 right there. 1, 2 to go around the corner. And on the underside of the chain, what I found to be a little bit easier was to just go around the underside of the chain and then trying to work into the chain. I mean, you'll have to do, you know, because like there's, instead of trying to get into there, just going around it and then doing that. And then you have the next stitch would be like right here. And then going in there. So you're actually going around like where that skipped chain is. Just going around it. I mean, it is thick, so it's going to curl a little bit, and depending on how tight you're crocheting, you might want to like kind of loosen up a little bit. I'm a little bit tight right now, so it's kind of curling. So there we go. If you loosen up a little bit, there, so you just got to loosen up a little. There it goes. So I don't have like a specific number of single crochets going around, just place them evenly around. And we get to the corner there, you're going to want to go ahead and put 2 in the corner, or 3 depending on how thick your yarn is, and you're going to work up the ends of the rows again. I mean, you can get real technical and count your stitches and make sure that they're even on both sides, but honestly, it's a cat nap. I don't think the cat, as long as you're relatively close, I don't really think the cats are really going to care whether it's perfectly even or not. As long as you're relatively close and you're not like really super wonky, I don't think the kitties really care. They just like nice squishy yarn. And then slip stitch into that first single crochet that you made and fasten off. And then you just weave in that end and you're all set. So there we go. And you got your blanket done. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy crocheting! Bye-bye!